Hey, good evening, fellow Texians. This is Daniel Miller, and I am here for Late Night Coffee Talk. And as you can tell, unlike the previous two, uh, I'm home. How wonderful is that, right? I'm actually home, not traveling, so I'm not having to use the laptop. I'm not having to either abstain from hotel coffee or drink it with a smile on my face. Sometimes hotel coffee can be pretty doggone disappointing. So, yeah, finally made it home. I got home. Let's see, Sunday. Yeah, Sunday. Wow. So, we if you go back the coffee talk 2 episodes back was at a hotel in Dallas. I was up there for my daughter's surgery. Then immediately went on the road and did speaking engagements, did TEXIT meetings in Amarillo, in Lubbock, in Midland, and Abilene. And we'll talk about that here in a minute. But it's going to be packed tonight. I've got your chat over here. So going to be looking at that. And obviously you guys are going to be driving a good bit of the conversation. But I do have some things on my mind that we're going to talk about tonight, some things that have come up. Going to talk about that aforementioned tour. Going to talk about the governor's race and this explosive poll that was released while I was on the road. So we're going to get to all that. But before we get started, I would like to remind each and every one of you, if you would not mind, if you're watching on YouTube. Oh, by the way, I forgot to tell you guys, we're streaming tonight, not just on YouTube and Facebook. But we're also back on Twitter and we just added Twitch. And so Rumble will be coming next. So stay tuned for that. If that's one of your preferred places to see the live stream or see videos, then you'll be getting that too. So we're blasting out all 4 of those tonight. We'll be adding a 5th one. And pretty excited about that. So let me do the rundown. If you are watching this on YouTube, we do have Super Chat enabled. And if you would like to do a Super Chat, it allows you to make a contribution. And it'll highlight your comment. I'll be able to see that. And those will obviously take priority. But look, we really do appreciate it. Anything you can throw in there. But while you're watching on YouTube, be sure to like and subscribe and hit that notification bell so you can get notifications of when we go live and when we post new videos. And we've got a lot of great videos that have been posted recently. As a matter of fact, 3 of the videos from the West Texas and Panhandle Swing were posted, along with a little snippet about the governor's race. I'm going to play some of that tonight. But if you're watching on Facebook, please be sure to like our Facebook page and share. The more eyes we get on these, the better off we are. And let's spread the word, right? We got to let people know that there is an organization out here working to make TEXIT a reality. I ran into some people here recently who did not even know that we exist, right? Even after a statewide radio campaign and a statewide billboard campaign and being in the news and all of those things. So we have to take an all of the above approach. If you're watching on Facebook, watching on Twitter, be sure to share, and be sure to like, right? Every time you interact with us, it beats the Facebook algorithm. Make sure you see more of our posts on social, and you definitely need to do that. That being said, let me get caught up here on the chat. All right, I got the chat back up. So look, we got a lot to talk about tonight, and I think I'm going to start with this groundbreaking poll that was released. And here's what I'm going to do. I'm actually going to share this on the screen. Let's see here. Yeah, there we go. Sorry, it's really tiny in the monitor, but here it is. Boom, shared. You guys, let's bring this up. Boom, there it is. There is the poll. The headline broke. As a matter of fact, it was State Representative James White who sent it to me. I woke up in the hotel, went downstairs to find coffee, And boom, lo and behold, there it was. He sent me the link to it, and here it is. 47% of West Coast Dems and 66% of Southern Republicans want to secede from the U.S. So here's what's interesting about this poll, and I'm going to go ahead and take this off the screen. But this poll is quite interesting for a lot of different reasons, right? But let's just talk about how earth-shattering that headline is. Okay, no doubt about the fact that it is explosive, right? I mean, you have to remember, you have to remember that the opposition, the political establishment, have spent all of this time. They have spent all of this time out there telling people that no one wants this, right? Remember, this was the thing, specifically here in the Texas Legislature. You had guys like Representative Jeff Leach and Travis Clardy and these guys all beating this drum saying that no one wanted TEXIT, right? Even though we're flooding the Capitol with thousands upon thousands of phone calls, they literally were telling people that no one wanted TEXIT to happen. So, we saw some third-party polling at the very beginning of the session, and anecdotally, we were able to see that on the ground. We had some internal polling that we had done showing the fact that if we put this to a vote, we win, right? I mean, we win. So as I tell the media guys all the time, we wouldn't be pushing so hard for a Texas referendum if we thought that we were going to lose it, right? You get one bite at the apple on this once in a generation, right? You have a couple of instances where within 10 years, like in the last 100 years, you have a couple of instances where countries that went to the polls to vote to withdraw from whatever they were a part of, where those things failed, and then within 10 years, they went back and re-voted, and boom, there it was, okay? So, but by and large, you can say safely that it is a once-in-a-generation event. So we wouldn't be pursuing a TEXIT vote if we thought there was a snowball's chance in hell we were going to lose it, right? So in comes this poll, right? Now that the session's over, we got the special session going on, we've got our campaigns going to put this on the ballot, and then boom, here's this poll that says 66% of Republicans in the South want their state to withdraw from the union. Now, the way that they did this is very similar to how the Reuters Ipsos poll was conducted in 2014, where they grouped states and then took an average of those states to determine it. So, Reuters Ipsos, we were able to get a hold of the crosstabs and the raw data and pull the Texas numbers out, and we have not been able to do that yet with this particular poll, but we're working on getting our hands on the data to see what the Texas numbers are. But if I had to guess, right, if I had to make an educated guess on what we're seeing, is that there were some states within that group that took the average lower, but that Texas was the one that bumped it up there to 66% of Republicans. And look, the independent voters and the Democrat voters were nothing to sneeze at either. I mean, obviously the Democrat numbers were pretty low across the entirety of the South. But again, think about some of the states that were involved in that cluster of the South. These guys still don't get how to poll. They don't understand the methodology necessary to poll this issue. That's not how this crap works. It's state by state. Poll it right, people. So anyway, this bodes well for us. It essentially means that here in Texas, you can walk outside of your house and you can throw a rock and hit a TEXIT supporter. That's what this effectively means. And it means that not just in, the rural areas or in West Texas or, these highly conservative areas, but those high independent voter numbers and even the substantial number of Democrats, it means that you can literally, wherever you are here in Texas, hit a TEXIT supporter with a rock. And I'm sure there's probably some Antifa punks that would want to do that, but you get my point, right? The fact is that we're everywhere. It's literally what I said in my book right here, 2018, right? We're everywhere. We've been telling you this forever. We're everywhere. Don't discount us. Don't ignore us. We are everywhere. We are voters, and they're going to find that out in this election cycle, are they not? Oh, yeah. By the way, I'm drinking coffee tonight, not hotel coffee. And I say that because there was a comment in the YouTube comments for I think it was the last week that said that Coffee Talk had degenerated into no on-screen graphics and no coffee. So I made sure that I had coffee, but I'm home, so it's all good. So here's your takeaway, right? As it stands right now, you know that with that percentage of support, that level of support for TEXIT, that if you get engaged with the TNM and you go out and you work with us on supporter identification, or you've signed up to be a certified petition circulator for the petition campaign, it means that there's low-hanging fruit everywhere, right? You should be able to not go find just one or two people who support TEXIT to sign off on the petition or become supporters, but you should be able to go out and get pages and pages. And sure enough, that is exactly what we're seeing, right? We're getting reports from petition circulators that are having house parties and getting everyone to sign and filling out full pages in 15 minutes, or going and working events like fairs and gun shows that are just absolutely crushing it. Okay, so let's remember that many hands make light work. We don't need, 10, 20, 30, 50 people doing all the heavy lifting, right? You should all get involved in the process, which reminds me, this is something that you should be doing right now, right? If you have more questions or want to get involved in the petition campaign, go visit tnm.me/petition. That's where you're going to find all the information about the Texas petition campaign. And as I have said time and time again, this is not an online petition, right? This is not like that lame White House petition. This is a full legal petition under the Texas Election Code 172.088, has to be done a very specific way, and all signatures must be collected in person, physically collected on a sheet of paper. Yes, I know it's analog, but tough, right? This is what has to be done. If you want to vote on TEXIT in 2022, this is what you got to do. So go to tnm.me/petition and get signed up, and find out where you can sign the petition. But I'm going to encourage you to become a petition circulator, and you'll find the link on that page. All right, let's do this. Before we move along, let me take a look at chat. You guys mind if I do that real quick? Because I know you got some questions. Okay, so let's scroll up. Let's take some of your questions before we move on to the governor's race. Hello, everyone. Thank you. Hello. Rhonda says, I would like to see Daniel Miller on Tim Pool help spread the word. Go get him, Tiger. I don't know how to make that a reality. There are people in the organization that do that sort of thing, but by and large, these people respond to pressure from their listeners or viewers. Bradley, will the federal government let Texas leave the union even if there's enough votes? That question is answered on the TEXIT page. If you go to texitnow.org, that question is answered in gory detail. What is the name of Dave wants to know what the name of the intro song is. That intro song is called Texan Arise. Written and performed by the executive director of our organization, Nate Smith, right? So unlike some other organizations that claim their supporters write music for them, but they got it on Fiverr, we actually, we have a pool of talented people inside the TNM, and our executive director is one of them. As a matter of fact, he played this and several other of his pro-Texit songs at our training last month for district directors and local coordinators. He's got a full album of these, and there are some videos that are circulating around. You may want to check that out of him playing some of the songs. I think there's even one of a different song on our Facebook page, but I wouldn't swear to it. But it is called Texan Arise, and Nate Smith wrote it and performed it. Okay. Someone who has a very jacked up username on YouTube says, evening cup of coffee. There's caffeine in there. That's right. I drink coffee at night, and I drink coffee at night because I work a lot. morning, noon, and night. When we talk about the TNM being a 24/7 operation, we're not joking. And many of those 24 hours each day, I am working. The amount of sleep that I get is very minimal. So yeah. So evening coffee. You don't want coffee? That's cool. Take the beverage of your choice. I'm not going to judge you. So Dan says, I cannot wait to trade my US dollars for Texas dollars. Amen. Okay, so JD has a petition question, and for all of you CPCs out there, I'm going to answer this one. JD says, Daniel, how many signatures do you recommend getting notarized and sending in per batch? We recommend sending in full pages, right? Or at a minimum every 2 weeks. So that helps us specifically with the verification process, so we don't get a glut of them in, where people sandbag them all for 5 months or 4 months, and then all of a sudden they send all their signatures in. So, get your full pages in, and then at a minimum send them in every 2 weeks, regardless of what you've got in your hands. Okay. Yes, Joshua, bean water is delicious, regardless of time or outside temperature. Amen. Okay, lots of good folks here. Jacob says this movement needs getter now. We have an account over there. Go find us. Go look for Texas Nationalist movement. Dan says, I'm a Texas supporter from New Jersey, and I cannot wait to move to register and vote in Texas. I will vote yes for TEXIT. I will tell you that I ran into at the events in the Panhandle in West Texas. I can tell you, Amarillo, I met people from 4 different states that moved here specifically with the expectation that Texas will leave the union. Right? They're ready. They're refugees from their respective states, and they are here because they anticipate Texas leaving the union, and they want to be a part of it. So, good for you, Dan. Hurry up before you need a visa to get here. Okay. Let's go down through here, and I'll try to get caught up, and then I'm going to move on to something else. Rhonda says, when can we stop paying federal income tax? When we TEXIT. Yeah. JD went outside. He threw the rock that I mentioned, and now his neighbor's furious, but he is probably a TEXIT supporter unless you drove him off by hitting him with a rock. Okay. Well, this one says, another YouTube handle says, they laughed at us when we were in single digits, and yet now there are millions of us today. I would posit that there were actually millions of us then. They just were either quiet or had not organized, but that was the value that the TNM brought to the table in 2005. When we founded the organization, we knew that our first task was to go out and connect with people who already wanted Texas to be free and independent. It's not about making the case for TEXIT, and arguing about it and all that. It's about reinforcing the case for TEXIT to bolster the support of those people who already support it. Okay, rolling down. Yes, greetings from Tyler. Hey, Rose City. I'm going to be headed your way very soon, so be watching the calendar. Somebody says Democrats won't allow TEXIT. Ha 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 ha. They can't stop it. Okay, so someone asked, does anyone know a CPC in Melissa? I'm sure you're talking about Melissa, Texas. If you go to the petition page and click the link that says sign the petition, there is a map there. You can find your closest one. If there's not one close to you or an event close to you, consider being a CPC yourself. You can sign your own petition. Jacob says, why won't Prather have you on his show to talk TEXIT? That is a great question. You should ask him repeatedly that question. And we're going to talk about Chad here in a minute. Let's see here. Okay, good. Denise says, greetings from the Woodlands. I will be in the Woodlands next week, a week and a day from tonight. I will be in the Woodlands speaking at the Rally Against Censorship. I'll be there sharing the stage. It's an event hosted by Defiance Press, the publisher of my book. And I will be on the stage with Sheriff Joe Arpaio. He's speaking there. You guys remember him from Arizona. There's going to be a couple of other speakers, but you can find all the details about it on our website if you go to tnm.me/events. The night before, I'm going to be speaking in College Station as we're doing a big kickoff there at the Museum of the American GI, which is a phenomenal museum with tons of vintage military equipment. And for those of you who know, I am a major tank aficionado. So, maybe I won't speak. Maybe I'll just go hang out with the military vehicles. Who knows? Okay. I'll take one more question, then let me move on. Then I'm sure you guys will have more before we close out. Eric wants to know, does the TNM website have a list of legislators that voted against or remained silent on TEXIT? Absolutely, we do. If you go to tnm.me/legislature, let me just verify that. We have an entire legislative directory. At tnm.me/legislature. We have an entire legislative directory, and as soon as this bad boy comes up, I'll show you. But what we did was we tracked responses from specific legislators on House Bill 1359. Okay, so let me just share that with you real quick so you guys can see what that looks like. Boom. There we go. Shared. And here's the legislature website. And you will see we have a full directory of both the Senate and the House. If you go to the House, one of the things you will see, you'll see the list of all 150 legislators. And you guys will have to forgive me because I'm running the stream on the same computer. It's being a bit pokey, but here it is. If you look at the list of legislators, for example, here is the Texas House. What you're going to find is every single one of these guys, and it's going to show you how they, whether they signed on to 1359, whether they supported it, whatever it is, whatever their stance was. And most of this was information that was compiled by not just directly from us, but also from other TNM supporters. So your fellow supporters were reaching out and then they were reporting back. For us, as far as we know, this is the first time a system like this has been implemented. But you can see there's Brian Slayton, who signed on as a co-author. No support means that they did not declare any type of support. They basically ignored their constituents and give a firm answer. And then you can see some opposition. Obviously Chris Patty should probably go in the opposed category, but you get the picture. So, we do have that. It's tnm.me/legislature. All right. So let's do this. I'm going to bring this back up. I'll be back over in the chat here in a minute, but what I wanted to do was I wanted to answer a question. Some news broke over the week, last week, specifically related to the gubernatorial candidates in TEXIT. And, I got asked all the time when I was on the road, where these guys stood. But before I get to that, let's talk about the tour. Okay. I mentioned that we started out the tour in Amarillo, then Lubbock, then Midland, then Abilene. And I got to tell you, Abilene was kind of a tack-on date, but we were able to connect with some phenomenal supporters. The rooms were great, although I must say that I almost died of heat stroke in Amarillo because the building was not air-conditioned very well or at all. I guess maybe a little, perhaps. But it was like one near heat stroke after the other. But we made it through, right? What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. And trust me, I would have endured far worse just to be able to connect with all these TEXIT supporters. But I'm going to share this with you guys now. If you have not attended one of our events where I've spoken, everywhere that I go speak, If it's one of our events, we do this. If it's hosted by someone else, if they have the time to allow it, I do it. But I will speak, and after that, I take a short break, and then I come out and I'll do Q&A. Right? I mean, I'll take questions, and my rule of thumb is no questions off limits. Right? I told one crowd, the more belligerent you get, the more belligerent I get. So be aware. But you have to remember, for me, that makes for a long event, right? I get up and speak, and I may speak 45 minutes to an hour, right? TEXIT is not a small subject to discuss, and people have an expectation that I'm going to take it from the very fundamentals of it all the way to where we are, right? So there is an expectation. Trust me, if I go shorter and I leave out a bunch of stuff and I skip over things, I never hear the end of it. So it takes time. It can take me anywhere from 45 minutes to an hour, and then I got to take a break. So I'm up there, I speak, I do the thing, and then I take a 5-minute break, and then I come back and I do Q&A. And in that Q&A, I will typically stay there until the rest of the team has to pull me off there with a shepherd's hook. Now, what that means is that at the end of these tours, right, we have to do these long runs. By the time I get to some of the last Q&As, I may be just a little punch drunk. Okay. And you have to understand, I tell people all the time, to do this as long as I have, you got to have a sense of humor, right? So here's probably the greatest hit from the Q&A in Abilene, and I'm going to share it with you guys right now.
I've been told over and over that Texas is not big enough to become its own republic.
Okay. I would encourage you to stop hanging out at the methadone clinic. Yeah, that happened. So good thing she had a great sense of humor, as did the rest of the room. And I have to say, the crowds in all 4 cities were very warm, friendly, welcoming, and we just had a great time there in Abilene. Like I said, it was a last-minute pickup, and it was a very small room, so we were all jammed in like sardines. And I got to tell you, their disposition, their passion was just infectious. So we were just having a good time there, and very glad she had a sense of humor. So it was you got to understand the context, right? But let's go back to the governor's race, right? Because even though that question about whether Texas could make it is kind of rare, I did get asked in every single city where we are on the governor's race, and I have to tell you, the TNM has not endorsed, and I don't know. We may not. We're pretty doggone picky about candidates that we support. And especially in this particular election cycle, where we're going to be running an entire slate of candidates for state house and state senate. Which reminds me, if you are interested in running for office as a declared TNM candidate and running in the primaries of being the recipient of pro-TEXIT votes, then head over to tnm.me/run-for-office. We are still about a third of the way to where we need to be, a quarter to a third of where we need to be on candidates that have registered. But we need you. And we've got more coming on. We've got some meetings coming up where we've got a visit with some candidates that are already getting in the race. But we've got some explosive things. Look, we got to get a full slate. So get over there and make your voice heard, run for office, go do it, right? tnm.me/run-for-office. And before anyone asks in the chat, I'm not even looking at it. I keep getting asked if I'm going to run for lieutenant governor, and I have not made up my mind. So if I see it in the chat, I'm not answering it. Okay, so that being said, we were asked a lot about Greg Abbott's challengers. Okay, now I will say that we have been particularly critical of Greg Abbott, and rightfully so. Right, even when he was Attorney General, he was put the kibosh on getting the people of Texas a vote on TEXIT, right? I mean, and I'm not going to go through that entire story. I've told it at many live events. It's out there, right? You can even go. There's a video that we have on our YouTube channel that details the 3 times we came closest to getting a vote on TEXIT before Kyle filed his bill. And so go watch that and you'll see. But look, our criticism of Abbott has not been unwarranted, right? We have said time and time again that Abbott is effectively a political climber, right? He is just looking at his next office, right? And for him, he wants to make that run at the White House. I mean, that's where he wants. He is a federal guy. He can tell you all of his Texas bona fides till the cows come home, but he's a federal guy. And here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to prove it, right? I'm going to play a video. Let's see here. Yeah, I'm going to play a video of what he said during the whole COVID pandemic, and I want you to listen very closely to who he says he is taking guidance from. Okay, now I'm going to tell you this didn't age well, so watch, listen closely, and then we'll be back on the other side.
We have to do so in a safe way. Understand this. We are working on strategies that I will announce on Monday about the extent to which Texas can begin to open business, and we're doing so based upon the advice of the 4 medical doctors that we have working on this project, as well as the standards established by Dr. Fauci, Dr. Birx, and the CDC. They have set standards. Know this, and that is with regard to things like salons and gyms, they are still prohibited by the CDC, by the federal government, by the state government. And so those would be situations where people who open up those types of businesses, they're subject to having their license revoked and forever not being able to open their business again.
Wow. Okay. So, he flat out said that he's following the federal guidance, right? He names off the 4 doctors right here in Texas, whatever. But he readily admitted that he was carrying the water for the federal government. I mean, that's what he said, right? I didn't have to make it up. There's him saying it, and it's what we've said all along, right? He does what he believes will advance his political career to a much larger office. So, when he talks about all the times that he sued the federal government, so what, right? Ultimately, nothing got done. He talks about how he's going to, defy the federal government and secure the border. But it's not until he gets some challengers in the primaries that he decides to get off his butt and do something serious about it. All the while you have people, border sheriffs, DAs, citizens that live down the border area going, we're in a crisis. He can't figure out what to do because he's got to wait on his poll numbers to come back. And so he gets some challengers, then he decides to do some things. And to the guy who thought he's going to take me to school last week on here and talk about how this, we're making up the fact what that Abbott hasn't really done anything. We're lining up a panel discussion that we're going to broadcast live just to prove you wrong. So get ready, because we got folks coming that are willing to get on here, whether they're citizens, district attorneys, whatever. We're putting people on here, and they're going to talk about what a serious crisis it is and how the federal government has made it that way, and how the state government, and specifically Greg Abbott, have sat there with the thumb up the rear the whole time and let it happen, and haven't got serious about it until there's challengers in the primary. So we're going to do that. But we know where Abbott is, right? So the question that we get is not where Abbott is. I think everyone understands where he is on the TEXIT issue. But we've been asked time and time again about his 3 challengers. And I can tell you that it's been difficult getting straight statements out of these guys, but we knew it was going to come, right? We knew that it was going to happen. And we knew that Alan West had previously made some statements about it on TV, but it was really, and we know that Prather had said some things about it. I mean, he's at least selling the T-shirt, right? But Huff Fines was kind of a mystery. We didn't get it. So let me do this. I'm going to run through this because now we have a video clip. We have video clips for all 3. And I'm going to play them for you right now, and then let you kind of decide where you believe these guys are. So we're going to start off with, because he was earliest in, Here's a clip of Alan West being interviewed on TV where he gets specifically asked about Texas.
You've got Democrats wanting to add states to the union, and you are the Texas GOP chair, of course, and inside of Texas there's a debate going on right now. One representative has introduced TEXIT legislation, wanting to get a sense from the people of Texas, hey, should we stay or should we go as part of the union? What do you think about TEXIT?
Well, it's good to be with you, Chris, and it's good to be with Governor McDonnell. I have always said I would rather have Texas lead than secede, but the people here in Texas have a right to be able to voice their opinions on a critical issue that they're facing right now, especially in light of all of the onerous, intrusive executive orders that are coming down from Vice President Joe Biden. So what Representative Kyle Biedermann's legislation does, it just talks about having a vote on the Senate floor to put something on the ballot that will be part of the ballot initiatives in this November 2021. And I don't understand why anyone would feel that they need to prevent the people from having a voice in something that, is part of the Texas Constitution. And so if you don't want to see it done, you just vote no. But you cannot prevent the people from having a voice.
All right. So there it is. Right out of Lieutenant Colonel Alan West's own mouth, he said that, look, he's not on the TEXIT train, but he believes that the people of Texas should, at a minimum, have a right to vote on it. Now, his position may have evolved since then, right? He may be stronger. And I do swap text messages with him. So, I think that perhaps if he were asked directly in one of his campaign stops, that he may clarify his position a little bit more, or he may be exactly where he was then, right? So we've known that for months because that happened shortly after Biedermann filed House Bill 1359. But the challengers we've not been so clear on because we've had mixed reports. Well, now we've got video. Chad Prather and Don Huffines appeared together at a town hall event just the other day, and someone in the crowd got up and asked the TEXIT question. So I'm going to play that for you guys now, and you guys we'll talk about it on the other side.
Well, my name is Charles Easton. When we took our pledge tonight, we said indivisible. In other words, our pledge to the flag was our country is indivisible. But yet earlier in the session, we had the Texas National Movement, and we had a bill that came before the House to study Texas separating from the United States because there's a lot going on in Washington that we don't agree with. Where's the breaking point?
Senator Klein, I believe the floor is yours.
Well, I am for that legislation. I think it was Representative Biedermann that sponsored that, and I'm for that legislation in Texas, and I would sign that and promote it. Texans deserve a right to vote where they are, what we're thinking about on succession. I'll tell you that I will, like I already said, I'm going to have our sovereignty to a level you've never seen. I'm not going to be asking permission from the federal government to do anything and close our borders or anything else we want to do. I'm not going to do it. And it's going to be a new day for Texas, a new chapter for Texas. I'm going to make sure Texas gets their swagger back. We can get our swagger back and prove to the world what it means to be a Texan.
So President Joe Biden drank his Ensure and went to bed 3 hours ago. He doesn't care about what's going on in Texas right now. We do. You're here tonight. When I'm governor of Texas and we see that we're in a situation where we no longer share the values with the federal government, and we have passed this bill and we have put it to the people to vote on it, on whether or not it proceeds or it dies. If it should go forward, and Texas, which is arguably at any given time between the 8th to the 12th largest economy in the world, when we secede, you can call me El Presidente. We're going to take Oklahoma with us. We'll take New Mexico because they're not using it. We'll ask Louisiana's permission because they're tough, okay? But I say that tongue-in-cheek, but also a very serious matter here, because we do deserve the right to determine our own future. The legacy that I spoke about earlier is going to be determined by the legislation that is passed. It is up to you, the people of Texas, to determine that legislation. We've already seen our priorities ignored in Austin, and there is no thought or care by the federal government of what's going on in Texas. We are being used, and to that degree, we will fight at whatever means and whatever cost it takes.
Okay, so there you have it. Straight from their mouths. So, honestly, the only thing that I take exception to is the fact that Chad Prather said that he's going to be El Presidente, and that used to be my on-air name when I ran a daily shift at Radio Free Texas. There were people who only knew me by that. So we may have to fight over the title, but the bottom line is that you heard it from both of them. Right. And where they are at this point is essentially all three of them in the same boat. Right. They are all three. They're not, I wouldn't say that they are staunchly pro-Texit, but they are at least willing to let the people of Texas vote on it and implement that will. Okay. So doggone better than what we got now. Right. There's no doubt that any of those three at this point have a better position on Texas independence than the sitting governor, right? So bottom line is that we got options, folks, and that's pretty good. But I think that as this race progresses and as we begin to field our candidates and we get closer to success on the TEXIT referendum, these guys are going to want to clarify their positions. Thank you. They're going to want to clarify their position. I think they're going to want to get stronger on the Texas issue, because here's the bottom line. I don't know how any candidate, or really anyone here in Texas, could look at the current situation between Texas and the federal government and look at how the federal government is treating us and look at how adversely impacted Texas is and Texans are by our relationship with the federal government and not be in support of TEXIT. I mean, I don't understand it. I can't comprehend it. But honestly, I haven't been able to comprehend that position since August 24th, 1996. So this is not new, right? You guys probably, some of you out there probably willing to give these guys a little more latitude than I am. But look, I'm a hard butt, right? I've been at this a long time, and I want to get this thing done. I want to win Texas independence. And I don't want us to be adversely impacted, which sort of brings me to something else that I want to talk about, not specifically related to the governor's race, but we're watching this nonsense happen with the diem legislators that fled to Washington D.C. We've seen some shenanigans there where allegedly the Speaker of the House has ordered their arrest if they come into Texas, but hasn't contacted or hasn't sent the Sergeant at Arms, the DPS, to collect the ones that are in Texas that they can get a hold of and bring back, right? They haven't done that. That was confirmed by State Representative Kyle Biederman. So we know there's some shenanigans there. We know that there's probably a whole lot of nothing there, and it's just a lot of kabuki theater. But in today's kabuki theater, I want to show you this because this picture, you've been seeing it on social media from some of these reps, and I want to give you a little context, okay? So here's one, a picture from Representative Jared Patterson, someone who was staunchly opposed to giving you a vote on TEXIT, and he's got his little poster board out there that he made and his daily tally. The Texas Dems cost taxpayers at least $389,970, and that's because of the per diem that they are still being paid while not doing their job, right? But let me tell you why this particular thing gets under my skin. It gets under my skin because Representative Jared Patterson ignored his constituents, belittled his constituents. He was belligerent at best toward Texas supporters that called his office in the Capitol, not really kind to Biederman for filing the bill. I mean, just a joke, right? I mean, he's just a joke, and it does not deserve to be a representative in Texas at all. And so he goes and he posts garbage like this, and I'm going to show you what a hypocrite this guy is. Okay, are you ready? Because here's something we need to understand. We talk all the time about the fact that Texas overpays anywhere from 103 to 160 billion dollars annually into the federal system. So after, I got tired of seeing these signs, right? I got tired of seeing these guys all posturing and being all morally superior on social media. And, oh, look at me. I went down to Hobby Lobby and I got some craft supplies. And man, aren't I clever on social media? These doggone hypocrites. Well, so what I did was I tallied up what the overpayment looked like, right? Since the start of the legislative session, right? Not the special, but back in January, I tallied up how much has been robbed from Texas taxpayers from our continued participation in the union. Okay. And so Jared Patterson's making all this hilarity about $300,000 of dims are costing. Well, let me tell you what he cost us. So far, he's cost us, because of our continued relationship in the union and his unwillingness to listen to constituents, he's cost Texas taxpayers $83,287,232. Because that's how much that Texas taxpayers have overpaid into the union since the start of the legislative session. And they want to go and they want to spend their time passing legislation declaring San Marcos the mermaid capital of Texas, and talking about, passing resolutions on Andy Murr's mustache and all of this crap, all of this burning of time that forced him to come back into a special session because they couldn't sink the 8 ball. Because frankly, I don't think they wanted to sink the 8 ball on voter integrity and election integrity. Right? I don't think they wanted to do that. So a lot of slow walking. So here we are in a special session. Dems hop a plane, fly off. Jared Patterson gets out his poster board, says, oh, they're cost us almost $400,000. Well, you know what, you idiot? You've already, because of your attitude toward TEXIT, you cost Texans $83 billion. So take your poster board, roll it up into a tube, and shove it up your backside, because we're not buying your crap. We're not buying it. You're not representing anybody, buddy. You're just making an idiot out of yourself and a hypocrite. So that sounded very soapboxy. I think I got a little wound up there. So I figured you guys would want to see that, because that's a really important stat, is it not? I think it's important for all of us to put this in proper context, that there is a monetary penalty that we are paying every single solitary second that we continue to be in the union. Every second. And so, honestly, this is one of the reasons I just got worked up, because I hate seeing hypocrisy out of legislators. I get sick of it, right? They want to act all morally superior when they're doing just the exact same thing to screw Texans. And I don't think we should put up with it anymore. I don't think we should. And I don't think we should grin and bear it and be all civil about it. I think it's past time that Texans get a little passionate and a bit riled up about this, right? Because let's be honest, go along to get along, and, let's pat each other on the back, and hey, at the end of the day, we're all friends. That crap's not working. It's not working. So, it's time to call these guys out and call them what they are, and they're hypocrites. And so I would suggest that you take that figure and you go find these guys on social media, and every time you see them with their stupid little poster board, you remind them of the billions of dollars they cost us for not listening to their constituents, because they did that, not us. They did that. All right, so let's roll on. Let me get over to chat real quick, okay? I need to do some catch up. Oh, by the way, let me remind you to if you're watching on YouTube, like and subscribe, hit that notification bell. And I've got some super chats to give a shout out to. Thank you to those of you that made donations over there, including the one here that suggested Get Agrippa said, can we raid Springfield and take Santa Anna's leg before we go? Just seems like the Texian thing to do. I look, if we had Santa Anna's leg, I would swap it for the Alamo flag that they've got in the archives of Mexico City. If you go back and look in our news archives, you will see where we pressured Rick Perry when he was governor to make the exchange for the Alamo flag. So very interesting. But hey, thank you for your super chat. And let me say a shout out here to my good friend Mark, who lives down under in the southern hemisphere version of Texas, or as they call it, Australia. Hey, great to see you pop on, man. Okay, so someone says here, Viva Tejas says, hey, Daniel, what are your thoughts on the Republic of Texas using a cryptocurrency? Actually, I think I talked about that a couple of weeks ago. I'm not a monetary policy guy. I'm not a currency guy. But Texas is making some already, kind of from a policy standpoint, is making some moves that direction. Do I think that the entire solution to shifting from U.S. currency to a Texas currency is crypto? I'm not sold on that, but I'm not averse to actually having that conversation. Okay, scroll down. And Viva Tejas, thank you for your $10 super chat. A government that robs Peter to pay Paul will always have the support of Paul. That is true. Okay, scrolling down. Let's find some more questions here. Rhonda says she's going to email Alan West and tell him you support TEXIT. Email them all. Tell them you want their position to be made. You want them to support TEXIT, not just to vote on it, but acknowledge the benefits of TEXIT and support it. Okay, let's scroll down through here. Let's find some more of your chat or your comments, because man, I'm almost out of time. I got like 7 minutes left. Okay, rolling down through here. Wow. Hey, there's a name I haven't seen, Dee Dee. Thank you very much. I went to high school with Dee Dee. I did. So thanks for popping on here tonight. I appreciate it. Okay, that is not a question. Wow, man, you guys really sounded off on that on those governor clips. We'll get all those posted. There is a video. All three of those videos are already posted on our YouTube channel, and there is an article that is being prepared right now. Will be posted with and it'll have the video of Prather and Huffines in it. So there you go. Okay, rolling down. Yeah, you guys are great. Okay, so someone says if California secedes, Democrats will never win the presidency again. I will tell you that California has a major independence movement, and they're as committed to exiting the union as we are. Now, they may have a little tougher road to hoe, but I mean they're having to go through kind of a different path to make it happen. But there was an Epoch Times article that came out yesterday or today, and my days are kind of run together, that talked about both of us, although the article mistakenly referred to CalExit as separating the state. So, but they're doing it. Dan says, I hope Oklahoma joins us. They are the largest county in Texas. Don't you forget it. Let's see. All right, man, I'm telling you, we're running out, and let me just scroll all the way to the bottom here for your chats and see what we got. Yeah, Viva Tejas also commented, and I'm saying this because you did the super chat, and I appreciate it. It says, Texas does not need to unify with any other states. And that is absolutely correct. Texas does not need to unite with any other states, because we can ultimately, if they leave as well, we can engage with them in trade and travel and all the things that independent nation states do with one another without being in another union, right? Let's just drum that out of our heads. Let's not talk about unions, because we don't want to jump out of one situation, regain our right of self-government, only to give it to another body in another absolute political union. We don't need that. Yes. CC Gaming says, I like how I am 13 and I am still more competent than those who oppose the people of Texas voting on TEXIT. Amen, kiddo. Amen. You're the next generation. We're going to need your generation to keep our independence once we get it. And thank you for popping on the chat. Someone says, do you support a silver/gold standard? I'm kind of in the same boat that I was with the cryptocurrency. I have certain thoughts about it, but I am also unconvinced as to what the best path forward is. But I do know that the only way that we will ever get the option to have a meaningful discussion about that is for Texas to withdraw from the union. Okay. So guess what? Okay, two things. Right now, you guys are chatting it up, and I am super impressed with some of your comments. I mean, you guys are just really doing it. And number two is no one castigated me for my rant against Jared Patterson and the rest of the hypocrites. So I know that I am in good company tonight. All right, folks, I've got 3 minutes left, and I got a one more thing to cover. Well, actually, a couple more things, because I want to use this final 3 minutes to encourage you to get involved in what we are doing. Hang on, it is coffee talk, right? There's been a lot of talk and not a lot of coffee. Although I have to say, my wife, she came in here, she knew that I was getting a bit empty, and got me filled up. And man, I just love her to death. She is a phenomenal woman, and she is my partner in all things. And we are just. It was. I'm going to be honest with you. It was tough being on the road and not being here with her on the regular. You know, being gone for almost 2 weeks. Not a fan of that, but understand, we all know it's for the greater good, for us to get Texas independence, and by God, we're going to get it done. So that said, let me go over here and just remind you of a couple things. If you are not a member of the Texas Nationalist movement, I'm going to encourage you right now to join by heading over to tnm.me/join. That is tnm.me/join right there on your screen. Become a member of the Texas Nationalist movement. Look, you can register as a supporter. Doesn't cost you a dime, but I will tell you that it is our members and our donors that help us get the job done, right? Billboards aren't free. Radio ads aren't free. The technology that we have to use to go out and reach Texans is not free. It is extremely expensive to do this. And, you know, look, contrary to popular belief, I don't get paid, right? This is not a paid gig for me. I've never taken a salary from the TNM. Never have, never will. It's just a personal thing for me, even though people have asked me to do so in the past. I'm just not going to do it, right? I literally, many of you don't know this, but I do technology consulting work. One of the reasons I have to drink coffee at 10 o'clock at night is I do technology consulting work. And so I do TNM and technology consulting, and thank God I can work remote and do all those things. But that being said, you know, the server company still wants to get paid. Billboard company's not going to put up our billboards without money. The website not going to get itself fixed. You know, I mean, it takes things. It takes resources, and our members make that happen. But more than that, being a member also shows that you have a greater commitment to this, right? It's more than being a cheerleader. It's being able to say, look, I'm not just sitting in the stands cheering you guys on, right? We want those. We want fans, but you don't win a game if you don't have players on the field wearing the jersey going out there and running the plays, right? So go join, tnm.me/join. In addition, I'm going to put the petition link up there one more time. Obviously, we're running this petition campaign. Go to tnm.me/petition, watch the video so you'll understand it, read the information there. And I want to give a big shout out to State Representative Kyle Biederman, who went out there and I think it was today, sent an email out to his entire list encouraging them to connect with our CPCs, to sign the petition, and to volunteer to become certified petition circulators. When you volunteer to become a CPC, right, what we call them certified petition circulators, it's a CPC, you go through, there's a little online class you take that explains how you collect signatures, what the form looks like, how you submit them. I mean, it's it's a process, but it's not crazy, right? So you take the little course, then you get access to the CPC dashboard, where you can download the petition forms and go do all the things that you need to go do. So I'm going to encourage you, tnm.me/petition, become a CPC, or connect with one using that map. Or alternatively, I'm going to encourage you all to do this. All of our events on the calendar right now are petition signing events. So if you go to tnm.me/events, you can go to any event, and I'm going to encourage you to plug in. Look, our district directors and local coordinators are out there busting their butts to make sure that all of you have a place that you can go to connect with other TNM supporters, right? There are meetups and outreach events, and I mean, everything you can imagine. So go now to the events page, find an event near you, and get plugged in, right? Go sign the petition, go meet other TNM supporters, get in the game. All right, that being said, that's it. I am 2 minutes over time, which is not uncommon for me on these things, because honestly, I just love spending time with y'all. But I want to thank specifically our super chatters tonight, and of course, everyone who participated, whether it was on YouTube, on Twitter, Facebook, or tonight, Twitch, which is brand new for us. I want to thank you all for being a part of this. And thank you so much for your comments and your support. You chatters, you guys did a phenomenal job. And just be looking for it. Just so you guys understand from a scheduling perspective, this is on my schedule every Wednesday night, right? And that's depending on travel and events and things of that nature. And next Wednesday night, I will be in College Station. So maybe a little late. I will be doing it from the hotel yet again. So I will try to make sure to have my coffee. I'll just bring my own, we bring our own coffee pot, right? But I'll be sure to bring my own coffee. I'll have some graphics so you guys don't get disappointed. So we'll do that. Thursday night is Rally Against Censorship in the Woodlands next Thursday. And tomorrow night, I'm going to be in Angelina County in the town of Zavala at the Eagle's Nest. And so all of you folks there in deep East Texas, in the Piney Woods, in the Lufkin area, Zavala area, come out. Let's have a good time. Let's talk TEXIT. All right. In the words of Sam Houston, he said that Texas will again lift its head and stand among the nations. I believe that time is now. And the question is, will you stand with her? Thank you all very much. We'll see you again soon.